Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we look at the show that I'm so happy about because I was so excited for this. Like, honest to God, this was a show I've been waiting for this whole season, and I can't believe it came out today because I forgot about it coming out today specifically. Kubikiri Cycle or Zaregoto Series. For the sake of the anime, I'm going to call it what it's actually known as. So it's called Kubikiri Cycle. I might occasionally slip up and go, oh, this is Zaregoto. I might say that only because I'm more familiar with that being the concept of this. But I'll try not to do that too often. So I do apologize in advance if I do that. But this is a show I'm gonna warn you guys and girls about immediately. Okay, just like the narrative book, there are times where this show could be, or just all similar to the book, I should say. There are times where this will be a lot of talking. This is a 27-minute long episode. I'm presuming that it's gonna always be pretty long. I'm presuming because there's only 8 episodes, they're gonna make them like 27 minutes, around 30 maybe in total. But yeah, this is all talking. There's no action. This is talk and imagery, and it's a lot about the kind of metaphorical state of the mind, how the mind works, how characters are developed. It focuses on characters. It focuses on their concepts, what makes them tick. And that is one thing I loved about the stories. Like, the stories are very metaphorical in the sense of how characters have special traits, but at the same time, those special traits also make them what is essentially a savant. Which, if you guys don't know what a savant is, technically that's someone that has a very highly skilled talent with something. But there are people that are called idiot savants, which are people that are very smart with something and talented with something, but at the same time are mentally handicapped in some way, or maybe challenged in the way of talking, or kind of how they interact with one another or the people in general. And in many ways, the characters in the show all kind of have a savant syndrome of some sort, and that's one thing that you always have to take in place with it. Maybe the only character that doesn't have that is probably our main character, who is just known as in this show as me, but in the story, which it kind of annoys me in the books, his name is I. That's essentially because he's the narrative person, and the thing is that as the narrator, what he does is he just doesn't let himself be the main character. Like, he talks as the main character, but he almost talks in many ways as a kind of outsider. And I've always loved that about this, because even in this, he does that same thing where, the main girl of this is actually Tomo. Her name is Kasunagi Tomo, but they call her Tomo or Tomo-chan or whatever, and that is what she's known as. And I'll get more into her when I talk about her. But the thing is that even with the beginning quote, which I really find very fascinating, it's more dangerous to have one talent too many than one talent too few. I love that. I'm not gonna explain what I think that means. I want you guys to maybe kind of dwell on that, because I feel that this is one of those quotes that has a lot of meaning. This is by Niche, and I've actually read a lot of stuff by Niche in college, and he's one of my, I don't want to say favorite philosophical type people, but he's definitely up there in terms of saying stuff that makes you really have different opinions. So I really want, if you guys have opinions on this quote, put down in the comments. I want to hear what your thoughts are on this quote and what it means. But let's get talk about the anime, because I don't want to spend too much time talking myself about just the books and all that. And I'll try, by the way, also make sure that I kind of deviate myself too much from the light novels. I'll kind of try to stay focused on the anime stuff. But like I said, this is our main character right here. His name is I-chan or I-chan. He's given many different names by Tomo, who's like the main protagonist per se. But for the narration purposes of this anime, he's called Me, which I don't want to say is that troubling, but I want to say at the same time it kind of annoys me, because I think they would have been better off just keeping his narrative name, which is I, and I think that would have made more sense in this sense. But that's okay. We'll leave it at Me for now. So I'll call him. I'm gonna call him, though, for all sake purposes, Iri-chan, because I think that's, or Iri. I'm gonna say Iri, because that's what Tomo calls him. Now, what this show does is the first episode is kind of meant to explain what they're doing here in this place, because you're just thrown into a place that you have no idea what the hell's going on. And I kind of love that about the series. I mean, the light novel does the same thing, but the anime looks like it's going to mimic that, where we're thrown into this mansion. We have no idea what's going on. This mansion right here is our main first part. This was the first volume. Tomo-chan and Iri were sent here as guests to a bigger, grandiose thing where a whole bunch of people with a lot of talents are staying at this place to kind of, I guess, mingle and interact. And there's going to be more about that later, because the first episode really doesn't focus on every little aspect of why exactly they were sent there, but it will go into more detail, I promise you. If they follow the first novel, it'll go more detail, probably episode 2 or 3. But what we're doing here is we're of course being he's invited here. He's more so he wasn't invited himself. It was Tomo who was invited, but he was invited as her plus one. So that goes to show you right there that like this is not again. What I love about Eri is that he's not the main character. He sure as hell looks like it, but he's not. And in many ways, by the way, this looks like Bakemonogatari or the Monogatari series in general. That's because it's done by the same people who did the Monogatari series. And I mean, I swear to God, Shaft really does the same shit with a lot of their stuff, which is not a bad thing. I love Shaft animation, but they really did the same thing with a lot of stuff, even with the weird head movements that everyone knows, the kind of weird craning of the neck and all that. So that's gonna be expected. Now we do get introduced to several characters, mainly Tomo, who I'm going to talk about the most. She is well, I'm not. I don't think I'm going to talk about the most, but I'll talk about a decent amount. She is the main person of this thing, of the Zaregoto series in general, the Kubikiri Cycle. Her job is essentially that she is a savant in the sense of being able to work with computers. She's able to work with computers at a pace that would mystify everyone. She can work millions of computers. She can alter them, write programs. She is a computer expert. There is probably second to none to no one. And that's what I love about her character. And she has a very close relationship with Eri at the sense that she hugs him at the beginning and she goes recharging because she needs Eri in her life. Like they will talk about that more probably in several episodes in if they follow, like I said, if they follow the exact same route the light novels have presented to us. But they will focus and talk about why she's so needed with Eri-chan, why he does the things that he does for her, and why she has such a, I kind of say, I don't want to say like lover's relationship with him, but more so a best friend slash I need you in my life relationship, which is very interesting. We'll talk about that though when that happens eventually in the show. We're also introduced to a few other characters. We're introduced to one, I forget, I think he's a artist of some sort, or at least is supposedly one of the artists here. I think he might be a sculptor. I can't remember exactly, and I do apologize for that. This is also a scene that I want to just mention real fast too, because the fact that it shows off besides a painter girl who I didn't have a shot of her that I thought was really good, but because they had like kind of weird animation on it, but it shows Eri being kind of shown what he feels like he is to Tomo. He feels like her accessory, and that's very important to remember throughout the whole series because he feels like her accessory. Just very important. We also introduced to I'm just gonna say Akane because I cannot say her first name. I can't see it really well on the screen. Akane over here though is, I want to say, a master of something similar to what Tomo is in the sense of not the same exact thing. It's more so in the sense of making concept. Like I don't know how to exactly phrase it. It's weird because her talent is almost similar to her, but not the exact same thing. And one thing that I find very funny is that we also in this scene learn about Eri, where the sense we learn about him that he was supposedly supposed to be accepted into this program, which is called the GR3 program, and unfortunately decided to drop out of that program despite having the intellect to be in the program. And like I said, I can't reveal. I know the reason why he dropped out. I know the concepts behind it because I did read the light novels that we got in America. So I don't have the full story on him, but I know some stories on him, some concepts of him. But he dropped out of that. So even though he's technically one of them, he's like a savant in many ways, and we'll I don't know if they'll do that with like episode 2 or 3. They'll probably show some of it, but they talk about that where apparently all the people that are in this place were kind of part of that program. That's very important because that will be necessary to know in episode 2. I definitely know that. And then we were introduced to this other girl who I forgot her freaking name. I remember it from the books and I cannot for the life of me remember her name, and that pisses me off. I'm actually gonna see if I can remember it from reading up on this. You know what? I'm probably not gonna do a good job of trying to do this. So you can stay with me for a second. But while I do mention it, this girl is known to be hated by Akane, and why I say that's important is because, well, essentially, these two will be the reason that a lot of shit is about to happen. That's the best way I can put it. And I want to say, by the way, that is either Kanami. No, is it Blue? Yeah, I think that's Kanami who right there is in that scene. So I had to look up by looking up online real fast. I do apologize for that, guys. But Kanami over here is, we'll just say, does not get along with Akane, and there is going to be definitely some interesting, I want to say, things that happen because of that. And I'm not going to talk about that too much because I don't want to spoil it. But let's just say that this place is going to have a lot of shit happen in episode 2. I'm just going to say that now. Hopefully. because here's the issue, and this is what I'm gonna warn everyone about, and this is why kind of this review went on so long, and I usually don't like doing reviews that go on too long, but this is a show that's very, very, very critical. I could see it already, and I'm happy about that because as a fan of the light novel series, I am happy about this. On making sure you understand every little detail about characters. It's important to know what the characters are going through, what makes them tick, why they're doing what they're doing, and what is going to happen further because of what they're doing and how they're doing it. It shows up with all of that. It shows up with our main character kind of seeing from a side perspective because he's not there to be the main character. He's there to be the secondary, and it's going to be seen through his eyes of everything going on. So that's pretty interesting because you're learning about more about Tomo in the next episode, I presume, where they're going to show how she's not really one that really mingles with people. She's not that she won't talk to other people, but more so she keeps them at arm's length, so she won't go out. She won't really kind of interact with anyone. That's why I said mingle, but so far, I love the first episode. And I made a reference in my Drifters episode 4 review where this is a show where this is all talking. But the thing about this show is that it's setting itself up to be all talking. A narrative show that it's going to be hell-bent on focusing on. Drifters is not like that. And the reason why, for me, Drifters I have issues with is because when Drifters falters is when it starts focusing too much on story and concepts. And in a show like this, where you're introduced to it right off the gate, you know what to expect with this. That's why I know for a fact people are going to either love this or hate this. And I really would love to see in the comments below what you think of the show so far. Hopefully you can get through it because, like I said, it's something that I feel like you need a certain mindset to watch it. That's all I'm going to say right there. Anyways, guys and girls, I will talk to you later. Have a blessed day. I might sound a little bit off to you guys and girls, by the way. I do apologize if anyone notices. I feel a little bit sick. I'm not saying I'm full-blown sick yet, but I think I am getting a cold. You get that little scratchy throat, so I'm already starting to feel that. But anyways, hopefully I'll be all right tomorrow to review Kiss Him Not Me. Hopefully I'll be able to review Bungo Stray Dogs today if it comes out anytime soon. We're still waiting on that. It was supposed to come out 11 o'clock. It's now 1 o'clock, so we'll see what happens with that. Anyways, guys and girls, I will talk to you later. Have a blessed day if I don't talk to you in the next reviews. If I do, I'll say it again in those. Bye-bye, everyone.